What's going on, Paisanos? V here, coming at you guys, well, with another market watch today. This is more or less of a Banlist market watch. In fact, in this video, we're going to talk about cards that are currently on the ban list and potential and what would happen to them if they was to come off the ban list. Would they rise exponentially in price? Would they just kind of go up real quickly and shoot back down? We'll talk about that on this video. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, like button, and comment down below. Comment question of the day. What are you holding back for the ban list? Are you looking to go in and grab a card now? Are you waiting until after the ban list? Or are you not even touching any of your cards until you see what happens? Let me know in the comments down below. Personally speaking, I have a bunch of cards, as I always do throughout the ban list, that I'm looking into. Ban list is one of my favorite times of Yu-Gi-Oh! Just before the ban list comes out, there's so much speculation, so much hype, so much fears, so much worries, so much excitement, and at the same time, nobody knows. That's the greatest part about the ban list. We just all equivalently do not know. And in fact, in this video, I don't know any of these cards will ever come off the ban list, or maybe they will always stay on the ban list. But what I do think, if they was to come off the ban list, there would be a lot of movement. In fact, let's talk about the first card off the gate. It's going to be Red Reboot. I think the best version of the card is going to be out of the 2019 Gold Shark Megatins, when they got the prismatic upgrade for Red Reboot, which is, you know, a little hindsight into the new Megatins. Maybe they'll get some prismatic reboots, upgrades to certain cards. Looking at Red Reboot at 2019 Ghost Like Megatins, the card's roughly around $1 right now. And I think that this card definitely has potential. Think about it. If Alta guys are not hit by the ban list, which I don't think they're going to be hit, unless Konami hits like personal spoofing, which would be a good hit, I'll be honest, the card's really good. But unless that happens, what we're going to see is Konami more than likely unlock more cards to hurt Burning Abyss. The deck's going to be really good, especially at Emancipators take a backseat by getting Black Dragon hit. Control decks will be even more prevalent than ever. And I think cards like Red Reboot will help curb that. Now, do I like this card? No, this card's insane. But I do understand why Konami will want to unlock this card in order to control the Ultra players running around. Because, let's be honest, it's really hard to promote new product when Ultra players are going to put their chains on you, bro. Alright, next. It's going to be Monarchs. Specifically, a pantheism of the Monarchs. This is like what a casual player's wet dream. Let's be honest. Monarchs are not going to be a meta deck. Though I will say their field spell, Domain of the Monarchs, is insanely good. By locking out your opponent's extra deck by having a tribute summon Monarch monster on the board, good times. Giving an extra attack, you bet they'll get it. And being easily searchable in the Monarch decks with tenacity, yeah, it's pretty fun. Realistically speaking, though, most meta decks can easily play around this still. And even though I do like Monarchs a lot, and even Pantheism of Monarchs, which should come to 3, it would be, you know, it'd be kind of crazy if Konami just did not unlock this. Like, what's going on here? I think Monarchs should be fully unlocked. It makes no sense to hold Pantheism down, because what, it could draw to? Alright, Pot of Desires, Pot of Duality, Pot of Extravagance. But the Pantheism? Whoa, 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 whoa! Crazy. You gotta give Monarch players the ability to draw cards? I don't know. Something about this, and you can probably say, well, V, it's searchable, I get it, but like, Monarchs, dude, are we gonna be scared of Monarchs in 2020? I think we have a lot more other things to be scared of other than Monarchs in 2020, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh's meta. And then we have Inferno Launcher. Now, if Konami really wants to promote Infernities, I mean, they can make it by itself, and by itself right now, you know, with its new support, looks pretty good. But Inferno Launcher, if Konami put Inferno Launcher to 2, that would be a drastic change. In fact, looking at Duel Saga, in which everybody went crazy over recently over Blue Eyes Dragon, I think Inferno Launcher coming at Duel Saga with $2 market price, currently still roughly around $2 to $3, highly undervalued. I think everyone kind of forgot about this card. I mean, yeah, you can say, well, V, I want to get the original Inferno Launcher coming at Shining Darkness. I guess so. I mean, the card's roughly around $1 market price. First edition versions are roughly around $4 for the card. So sure, you can do that. But if you want to upgrade it like rarity version, especially a nice clean looking Dual Saga Inferno Launcher, nobody's looking at it right now. Everyone kind of forgot about it. And if Infernities was to become more of a meta relevant deck in the future, obviously this card is going to be a needed card. And especially if I put it at 2 off the ban list, maybe even 3, but I think 2, then we'll see some changes happen as far as the valuation of this card. So, with was finally getting a reprinted version of the Burning Abyss Link monster coming out of Megatins, I think it's now or never as far as making Burning Abyss unlocked. At least putting Seer and Grafter 2. I think Konami should have did this a long time ago. It would have been more fun, more exciting for the meta. But being the fact that they didn't do this, I think looking at CM Malibetch of the Burning Abyss, I mean, it's a rare. It's not crazy high in value. Yeah, you can say, wait a minute, V, we have gold rare. Yeah, you do, I guess, but we're not talking about that. You also have the Graph Malibetch of the Burning Abyss, super rare, out of Astro Pack 8, $2 market price, and it's roughly around $2 on the marketplace. So you can go ahead and grab this card if you really want to. I already have my playset. I got it a long time ago. If you're a Burning Abyss player, you probably have this already, waiting until we see more Graph that can be played, maybe even more seed that can play into the meta, sure, but I do think it's time for Burning Abyss to get unlocked. It literally correlates perfectly with the release of the Megatus and the Burning Abyss Link monster. Especially, also, real quick, I just want to say, especially since we have so many cards to mediate Burning Abyss, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Next, Veni's Emptiness. So this is a card a lot of people will probably start disagreeing with me on. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this video gets a zillion dislikes and a couple of likes. I just really want to talk about these cards because I really do think if even one of them comes off the ban list, it's going to be a drastic change for our entire meta game. Even if we don't get a huge ban list, which I think we're going to be getting a huge ban list, it's going to be a drastic change. Someone could argue, wait a minute, V, we're probably not going to get a big ban list because Konami's not going to have sanctioned events. Sure, if the bans were made every single fucking day. No! We're gonna have a relatively big ban. I think we're gonna have a relatively big ban list because Konami's not looking until like next week or next month. This ban is gonna last a couple of months. And if it lasts a couple of months, there's a good chance that Konami wants to do a couple of things. Number one, if they want to really promote remote duels, which I think they're going to want to promote, then what they need to do is get more Yu-Gi-Oh! Players set up for that. They still want to sell product because obviously you need product for remote duels. Someone asked in my comments in my last video, V, what about proxies? Alright, if you're caught in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament with proxies, what happens? You literally get disqualified. So I don't understand the whole confusion about, well, if they have a good print, they can print good proxies. If you're a bad player and you can't see bad proxies, that's on you, more or less your opponent, for printing up cards that they illegally cannot play in their deck. So I would really focus on that. As far as going, wait, V, well, why remote duels? Because Konami wants to promote product. Think about it. Konami has more events online with remote duels. They can promote a product because you obviously need to get those cards to play in a good deck to play remote duels. So I think it has a weird correlation. Unless you're an Altergeist player, then we're always ready. But listen, going back to Veni's Emptiness, I think this card's a great card. Whether you're looking to play Altergeist, it's another trap card in your arsenal, even though it doesn't really work with a multi-figure, still a great card. Or any other deck that want to create a huge board, and then on your opponent's turn flips Veni's Emptiness. This card is still a very good card. It has an inherent weakness of sending if your opponent sends any card in their field to the graveyard, or your opponent sends any card in the field to the graveyard, Veni's Emptiness goes away. Is it a good lockout card? Yeah, it's a great lockout card. But in the meta we have right now, where so many decks are trying to go off as fast as possible, I think this is almost needed. I'm not sure if we needed this meta format, but I think it's only a matter of time before we see Veni's Emptiness come off the ban list. Do I think it's come off at 3? No, probably not. But as a one-off, yeah. Secret Veni's Emptiness, coming at Legend Collection 5Ds, mind you, is roughly around $15, and still around $15. In fact, after that single copy sells, the card goes up to $18 to almost $19 for Veni's Emptiness. After that, Spellbook Judgment. Can we just all agree this card needs to come back? Even at to 1 or to 3, Spellbooks are not going to be doing anything. If you're scared of Spellbook Judgment, and you're sitting there with like Adamantium or Eldritch, Numerons, do me a favor. Just stop. Just stop talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Lay down, okay? Put your sheets over you. Go to sleep. Wake up. Take a nice shower, okay? Get in your He-Man full body pajamas. Eat some cereal. And just ignore the Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta until the meta is ready to come back to you. Because Spellbooks with 3 Judgment is not going to do anything. And I think maybe you might have a point for a second there. I think Spellbook Judgment should come back, but we should ban Jalgan. We should have always had banned Jalgan. This is one of those things that Konami should have always have done. Think about it. Jalgan's Spiritualist is not only good for spellbooks, but it was originally good in last turn. If you're an old Yu-Gi-Oh player like I am, you know 1000% what I mean. By activating last turn, you and your opponent both start summon a monster, and then you bring out Jalgan, your opponent can bring a monster, they attack, well, only Jalgan attack, and you win the game. It was a dirty, cheap FTK deck. Well, technically, you do it on your opponent's turn. Nevertheless, it was a dirty deck. And this card is also on the bans because of Jalgan. So why don't we just ban Jalgan, put Spellbook Judgment back to 3, let Yu-Gi-Oh players play casual Yu-Gi-Oh and have more fun with it, and maybe in Nebraska they might get a good regional win with Spellbook Judgments, local win, YCS with Spellbook, sure, I guess so, but do we really count that? Do we really count that though? Like if your standard metric of what is the meta is coming out of like Nebraska, is that really what we're gonna be counting, bro? Alright, sure, just don't go anywhere else other than Nebraska, because you'll be surprised what else out there. Like, meta decks. Anyway, look at Harvey Featherduster. We've been talking about this card forever. I think it's only a matter of time before this card comes off the ban list. Once again, if you're gonna say V, I think Lightning Storm's a great card at 3. And then look at Harvey Featherduster and go, whoa, 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 that card's too broken? You see what I'm saying here? It makes no sense. I mean, I think we can both agree that Lightning Storm is a broken card, but we both cannot I think it's impossible to disagree that Harvey Featherduster is a broken card, especially when you have a cards like Regeki and Dark Hole. Yes, they're only for monsters, and Harvey Featherduster is a spell and traps. I get that, but this card is still at 1 if it was to come off the ban list, where Lightning Storm is at 3. I think the only key difference is those who are arguing for this card to stay banned is those owning a playset of Lightning Storm. That's the only thing I can think of, because this card should absolutely come off the ban list. Now, if you look at Harvey Featherduster, the 2 promos, you got the World Championship 2004 Game Boy promo. That thing's roughly around $75. It's just been bought out, let's be honest with you. It was just hard to get, that's why. Once again, hard to get for you. People are going to get it at times 3. There it is. And then you got the other promo version that came out of... They were in a Destined Duel? I'm really bad at the video game names. Roughly around $29 in the market price. It's realistically around 15. The card for a while was around 12. It was still around 12, but it's about 15. It quickly goes up to $18 to $19. This card comes off the balance to 1. This card will be sold out. No doubt in my mind. That card will be cleaned off the market or put back at an insanely high price. Look at the Heavy Storm's another card I think that can go off the ban list. Why not? If we're already at the point where we're looking at Lightning Storm going, that's at 3, okay. We look at Harvey Featherduster and go, okay, I think we can agree that should come to 1, sure. Look at Heavy Storm. Why is this card still banned? Like, once again, I know spell and traps are more heavily influenced in the game than just monster destruction. I get that, especially when Konami has curved monsters to be either A, immune to being destroyed by spells and traps, or B, have a plus side when they are destroyed by spells and traps. I get that. But I think Konami easily put that on their spells and traps. I mean, look at how monsters are. You know, I'd rather get, if you hit playing Burning Abyss and I get your board, you're like, all right, thank you. I'm gonna go and get all these procs. Why can't I work with spells and traps? I think Konami can easily do that. And if they can move it that way, once again, going back to my original argument about Lightning Storm, which is insanely expensive, another card that's like $130 for first edition. Heavy Featherduster coming to 1, if we can agree on that, Heavy Storm Heavy Storm should not be too far away. I just think it's a good card. I think it's a card that definitely needs to come back. What would be the most expensive version? I don't know. I don't think you can really play Hobby League in any kind of actual sanctioned Konami event, physical sanctioned Konami event. You got Retro Pack 1 Heavy Storm with a $8 market price, but that's clean off the market, so don't worry about that. And then you move on to other versions, like the original print version out of Metal Raiders, $2 market price. And I mean, you look on limits all day long. I mean, they're like $2-3. But if you want a first edition version of the card, it's currently about $25. There's about 2 copies left on it. And then there's other versions all over the place. I mean, there's tons of Heavy Storms. So I do think this card can kind of come back. Now, will this card come back first? I don't know. I think Harvey Featherduster should come back first, especially when we have Lightning Storm. It kind of coincides. It kind of changes the extra deck dynamics. Some players might be running 3 Lightning Storms, 1 Harvey Featherduster. Some players might be running 2 Lightning Storms and 1 Harvey Featherduster. In that case, they would sell the 3rd Lightning Storm, thereby lowering the price of Lightning Storm. So there's a lot of kind of correlation within the market as far as Harvey Featherduster coming off the balance of the Heavy Storm. But I do think this card will inevitably come off the balance as well. I always say Talamayus. I think I don't know how many bands videos I've done, but whenever I do get a chance to talk about the bands, I always talk about Talamayus. This card's eventually going to come off the balance. It's an Ultimate Rare coming at a cross shows with a $7 market price. It's Ultimate Rare once again, so the price obviously went up. The current price point roughly for Unlimited is about $10, and if you want a first edition version, it's roughly around $16 for a Talamayus. It's just gonna keep going higher. Like, it's just going to get higher as I would move away with Banlist from cross shows as a set. Obviously, Talamayus will increase in value. Then we have Masterpiece, the True Jacob Slaying King. I don't know if this is going to come off the ban list, but the fact that this card is continually rising in value, I mean, Unlimited's about $13, first edition about $14. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, Konami, just reprint this card and just don't care. Like, make it as a common in like a structure deck and just keep going. Don't even take it off. I don't think this card should go off the ban list, but everyone freaking out about it. It's kind of entertaining as a thought. But make this card like print like 20 comments and you will obliterate the value of the secret version of Masterpiece. Until you do that, until you reprint any variation of Masterpiece, the True Jacob Slaying King, the value of the secret rare will continue to increase as we already have seen it. Astrogas Sorcerer is a card that should come off the ban list. 100%. The card only came out in Pendulum Evolution, which, by the way, real quickly, this in OCG is a structure deck, but here it is a set in TCG. Thank you for that, Konami. But looking at Astrogas Sorcerer with a 55-cent market price, you're looking at it's less than $1 on the market. This card should absolutely come off the ban list. With Electromite ban, with Star Event Infusion Dragon ban, why is this card still banned? Like, I understand this card was good when we had Electromite. I totally get it. But being the fact that Electromite is currently banned right now, Pendulums have done what this meta? Why don't we bring Astrogas back? Even at 1, it'd be just more tools that Pendulum players can actually use. Because they don't have many right now. You keep slapping the decks left and right. My next card everyone's going to get upset about, but I think Thunder Dragon Colossus should come back to 1. I'm in that camp. There's not a lot of people in that camp. But Thunder Dragon Colossus, right, real quickly, over the price valuation. Currently in the market price, roughly around $35. The Ultimate Rare Unlimited version, obviously the only version, $35. Quickly goes up to almost near $45 for the card. I think Thunder Dragon Colossus should come back. Now, you're going to go, wait a minute, V. There's that one deck that used that Thunder Monster, and then everyone can play Thunder Dragon Colossus. And we're going to be realistically, seriously honest with ourselves. Looking at Yu-Gi-Oh! From a competitive meta standpoint, no one's going to be running Arch Nemesis. It's just not going to happen. First of all, you can't search it out. So if you can't search it out, you got to play more of it. And if you play more of it, how much you want to play for the one Thunder Dragon Colossus that you want to tech in your deck? It makes 0 sense. It throws off a ton of synergy, especially with the new ban list. And I think the only players that will actually use this card moving forward would more or less be pure Thunder Dragon players that will maybe hybrid with Arch Nemesis, or you can players that play a Dragon variant that can try to throw in Thunder Dragons as they did before the card was banned. That's the only players that's realistically going to be using this card. Number 1. Number 2, this card's eventually going to get power crept. We know this already. It's inevitable. As it gets power crept, it will ultimately come off the ban list. People will have PTSD, like another card I'm going to mention soon, and that's realistically what's going to happen. So that's why I say to everybody that owns a copy of Thunder Dragon Colossus Ultimate Rare to hold your copies. The value of this card's only going to get higher. Even if it takes a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, the value is going to exponentially increase. It's going to happen. And also, like I said, going back to Arch Nemesis, everyone's like, oh, you're just throwing Arch Nemesis cards. All right. Tell everybody that thinks that because they're so good at the meta. How many? How many you gonna throw in? Because you can't search them. There's no, like, Arch Nemesis Rhoda. And if you're doing your combo, obviously you want to have consistency. So how much Arch Nemesis cards you're going to throw in to limit the amount of consistency you want to have in your current meta deck. Realistically, I'm just going to put a pin on that. Current meta deck post-ban list Adamant players. Just want to throw it out there. So looking at Thunder Dragon Colossus, I do think that Arch Nemesis argument is a silly one. I think it's a lazy argument because they're going, oh, I'll just throw Arch Nemesis in and it's so easy to throw them in there. I mean, I'm playing X and Y meta deck, Rockets, let's say, and Arch Nemesis, oh, they just float to my hand. No, they don't. Let's be real. Let's be honest. It's not going to happen. I kind of want Colossus to come back to kind of prove my point. It's not going to happen. I would like it to happen. It'd be cool if everyone played Colossus. Who cares? If everyone's playing Colossus, that means combo players get hurt more. And let's be realistically honest with ourselves. All these mid-range combo players, who cares about them? They've been a dominant deck for I don't know how long. For Colossus to come out to hurt them? Good. That means other players that want to play other variants of Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks that can easily play around Colossus can actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! More better in the competitive sense. I don't see no negative downside of this card coming back to 1 in the ban list whatsoever. I only think that's only players that actually complain about this card is players that are trying to go off first turn with a huge combo and they have to go against Thunder Dragon Colossus. They basically take the fat L. And if they have to take the fat L to 1 card, it's gonna happen. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's only a matter of time before combo players have to deal with that. So let them. Who cares? Why are you defending a combo player that's going to say, oh yeah, Arch Nemesis? You know, it's just, I don't know. That argument, every time I hear that argument, I just get confused because I'm like, no, that makes no sense. No one's playing Arch Nemesis to bring out 1 Colossus and then somehow magically jimmying up their entire combo. Like, stop lying to everybody, and especially to yourself. It's kind of disingenuous. Next, Max C. Before I begin, make sure to like this video, comment down below, yell at me, let's yell, let's have a conversation in the comment section. Trust me, I would love to. I think Max C's coming off the ban list. I don't care what you say. In fact, I'm so confident this card's coming off the ban list, and once again, I just want to pause. Whether it's this ban list, the next ban list, the ban list after that, I don't care. Time's on my side. Not on anyone's side who thinks this card will never come off the ban list. You have to, every ban list, provide the fact that this card's not coming off the ban list. Whereas I can easily say the card's inevitably going to come off the ban list. I only need to be right once. you have to always be right. And in that case, the Maxi argument, I always will win it. I think Maxi's coming off the ban list, whether it's this ban list, next ban list, I don't care when. I'm so confident this card's coming off the ban list. I went out just recently and spent around, I'm going to say, I think $700 on Ultimate Rare Maxis. I believe it was around 6. It was like 2 of them for $350 with tax. Let's just say $700. I currently have another Maxi, which is roughly around $300. I have $1,000 in 3 Ultimate Rare Maxis. That's how confident I am this card's coming off the ban list. Once again, I only have time on my side. Good luck to you, every ban list. Have a great argument. Eventually, you lose that argument, and I win it. And if anyone's out there going, well, I guess Maxi will get a reprint, I'll get that reprinted version, that's totally fine. I'm always for reprints. I don't understand this whole disillusion because I have the fact that I like max rarity cards, that I want you not to have access to those cards. No. In fact, if you ask any player who loves max rarity, a real player who loves max rarity, they want you to have their cards. Obviously, they're going to pay a lot more money to get the highest rarity, sure, but they don't want you not to have access to those cards. Imagine what kind of monster, what kind of moron thinks, oh, I don't want you to have access to Lightning Storm. I don't want you to have access to Ultimate Rare Max C. Like, what idiot says that? Of course, I want you to have access to it. And if Konami makes a rarity that's easy for you to get, please do it. I want it today. Today. With that said, I want my highest rarity stuff if I can get it. And in this case, it's Max C. Once again, going back to my argument of Max C, I think this card inevitably will be coming off the ban list. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are going to be excited for this card to come off the ban list. This card has a lot of great synergy. I mean, you activate Max C, your opponent activates should with tactical talents, because now it makes it a little more of a strategic card. Your opponent's going to... Your opponent's going to have to watch what they play. We'll call it a Grave Seymour meta play. Will Ash possibly Seymour meta play as a counter? I think it will be to Maxi. And it will create an even better dynamic than we currently have in the game. It will create a dynamic in which on your opponent's turn, as they're playing cards, they're continually questioning themselves. Do you have X, Y, Z, or N, or T, or F, or any of those cards? Because they have to. If they want to win that turn. They have to, if they want to create a board that you can't break. And they have to continually question themselves. And I love that dynamic in this game. I think that's great and healthy for the game. So going back to Max C, I think it just adds to that. Your opponent's trying to make a dumb board first turn, so you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! You play Yu-Gi-Oh! In a limited capacity. Or when you do actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! It's just not as good because you have like 1 or 2 cards in your hand. No, Max C definitely provides you a better way to get back at your opponent because it's going to punish them. Once again, in the beginning of this video, you can't argue about control decks because I said I think Red Reboot should go to 3, and I'm dead serious by that. I think Lightning Storm should go to 3. Not Lightning Storm. Heavy Feathers should come off the ban list. I think Heavy Storm. I think all these cards that clean backwards should come off, but I do think we should add the other element to you control combo players, maybe even mid-range players of having Max C come off the ban list. I think it's inevitable. I think today, tomorrow, this ban list, next ban list, I don't care when. I'll be honest with you. When I invested $1,000 in Max C, I wasn't investing it for this ban list. I mean, hope it does. I'm investing for every single ban list that comes out now. Every single time a ban list comes out, I'm invested in it. That's my dedication to this card. That's how confident I am in this card. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm totally fine with being wrong. See you on the next ban list. If you want to get Max C right now, I mean, there's other versions, but I think Secret Max C is slowly being undervalued right now. Unlimited. Max C right now coming out of Storm of Ragnarok, $50 market price. The card right now unlimited is roughly around $34. It's insanely criminally undervalued for unlimited. First edition Secret Max C is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be roughly around $88. That's not criminally undervalued. That's actually the price point it will be at. I think it might even go higher if it was to come up the bands. If you want to know about Max C Ultra Rare, by the way, I'm just going to throw it out there. $364 market price. If we're talking about unlimited, you got Spanish for about $300. Max C, another version like you played for about $350. Italian for $350. I think I got Italian, Spanish, and English because I'm Puerto Rican, Italian, Spanish, and American. So you know, and it's kind of cute. But that's what I did. I'll probably have a picture of it on my Instagram coming up next week, maybe on the channel. And if I'm wrong, it's wrong. Let's get involved. Make sure to hit the notification bell to see what happens during the ban list when I am right. And if I'm wrong, hey, dog me on it, bro. I'm a man. I can take it. I'm not a baby. I'm totally fine. I'll see you on the next ban list. But look at this card. I think this card is going to be bought out even more. When the Maxi hype initially started, this card went up to $500. So I do think that it might go to that number easily if it was to come off the Banlist, even at 1. I want it at 3, it'll probably come off at 1. Looking at other variations of Max C, by the way, you got Ultra Rare being around $22. They cost about $15. Once again, criminally undervalued. You got the Super Rare version of Max C, which looks clean. I actually own a place of Super Rares. I own a place of Ultis and Supers, because that's how much I think the Super Rares look so nice and clean. From the 2012, an 8-year-old Super Rare, by the way, with an $8 market price, is currently roughly around $8 to $9. Once again, this is a very good version of the card. Don't get fooled. Don't let anyone trash talk you on that one. Even the common looks clean. Am I wrong on this one? Like, I have one common Max C. It looks really clean. I'm the first dogger card if it looks not good. And even the common's not bad. $7. First version almost like $8. And then you got Gold Rare. I mean, look at this. Ugly. This card makes me want to not promote the Max C argument. That's how much I hate looking at it. But any version of Max C is pretty good besides that thing. And that's why it's on the bottom. But looking at Max C, I do think it's a card that's going to be coming off the Banlist. I do think it's a card that's going to change the way you play the game. I do think it's a card that, whatever deck you're playing right now, you have to reevaluate each situation. If you're trying to play a deck that like focuses on taking cards from your opponent's hand, Max C is going to change your mind. If you're looking at a deck that maybe is a control deck, well then you have to not worry about more or less Max C, but what's going to come out that's going to hurt your back row. And of course, if you're looking at a deck that's going to make a big combo, a huge play, how can you play at a Max C? Get ready for it now, so you're ready for it when it gets dropped on you in an event. Be ready today. One last thing I want to say is, look what my son did for me. I woke up today, it's about 7 in the morning. I think I woke up around like 5, 6 in the morning. And my son has on my computer, right there on my keyboard, boom, right there for me. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? If you guys want to check my Instagram out, I'll have the links down below. That is awesome. I am flabbergasted by how much I love the Millennium items. I'm fascinated with the way they look, how cool they are, and my son to make them. This is pretty awesome. Anyway, Paisanos, you know, real quickly, I just want to say, even though this whole goddamn pandemic, this whole situation we're going through sucks. Every bit of news is just terrible. One thing that we have together right now, you and me, whether we disagreed on every single card or we agreed on everything, I don't care either way, is the fact that we enjoy and love a game. And we stick to enjoying and loving a game. We focus on the game that we play. We don't have to deal with things outside that door as much. We don't have to deal with a lot of BS. And it makes life a little bit easier if you have family that you love and support. Anyway, it's your boy V and you Paisanos. You Paisanos have a great day.